Hi everyone, welcome to CloudEagle's vendor video series. Today we have Abhijeet Vijayvergiya, the CEO and co-founder of Nektar.ai. Welcome Abhijeet.
Hey Prasanna, thanks for having me on board. Excited to be here.
Same here, very excited. Nektar.ai is an industry-first no-code revenue operation platform that has been helping sales teams drive hypergrowth. Would love to hear from Abhijeet on how he went about starting this company and what was his background which inspired to start this. So Abhijeet, what was your background and why Nektar.ai?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Prasanna. It's very close to my heart. I'm an accidental sales guy. I moved into sales in 2011. Initially, I was doing customer success, but then the co-founder at my previous company asked me to try my hand at sales because I understood the use cases quite well. So when I started doing it, I just became successful instantly. I was able to run the meetings with a lot more detail that it needed, and I was able to explain the benefits to our potential customers quite well. So I got a lot of success from a solution and consultative selling. And from an AE, I became a manager and then a VP of sales. And that led me to look at problems from different dimensions. First as an operator, then as a team manager, then as a regional leader. And then I moved on to becoming the board member at the company. And when I did that journey at a board level, we look at problem more strategically, like unlocking a predictable revenue growth engine. And from an individual contributor level, you look at how do you close the next deal or meet your quota for this quarter. So I basically became a student of this problem around sales productivity myself. Spent around 9 years chasing that. Looked at a lot of tools, over 100 plus tools, as I was user and buyer of some of these sales tools and solutions out there, and figured out there is a big gap in the market from a sales productivity standpoint, because most tools that exist today are largely making the humans work for the system than the other way around. The system should ideally work for human, should make the life of the salesperson easier. So that was like the founding thesis for me. And the trigger point was when I had to lay off a few salespeople. I just felt that organization can do a better job at enabling these salespeople. The systems can work better to help these salespeople. And yeah, that was a trigger point. And I stumbled upon one article which was published in Forbes in 2019. Around 57% of the sales reps missing their quota that year. So that was like a big revelation for me that it's not just a local problem in a company or in a market. It's basically a global problem where most B2B growing sales teams are facing that challenge. So yeah, that was a motivation, and I kickstarted the journey to build Nektar in Feb of
Nice.
2020. Yeah.
That's very cool. And Feb of 2020, that's the time when COVID was also starting, right? So how was
That's right.
that journey for you of starting a company during COVID? And can you go a little bit more deep into what exactly does Nectar.ai do in terms of functionality?
Yeah, for sure. So COVID was an interesting time. Obviously, it's been very challenging 2 years for all of us, right? As people, from a business standpoint, I think there's a lot of business transformation and so-called digital transformation that happened, right? Satya Nadella very famously said in 2020 that we've seen a decade's worth of digital transformation happen in one single year. So what it did to the field of sales, B2B selling especially, is it accelerated the trend of digital buying and selling, which was popular in B2C. Now it's happening in B2B as well. The entire process moved online, right? Whether it's collaborating with your team members to doing the demo for your buyers to meeting them digitally or virtually. And even for buyers, they are spending more time on digital channels to discover about the product and the solution, about the different suppliers out there in the market. So it changed things very interestingly. And from a management standpoint, I think they were not closer to their team, right? So you cannot go and do a market visit and get a visibility around your team or what your how your deals are shaping up. You need to get all that information through data, through systems. And unfortunately, the big pain point with systems before COVID, like systems like CRM, that nobody updates it, right? CRM is not clean, it's incomplete, and the data
Yeah.
decays every week. So that became like a big turning point that the world needs more visibility. They need data, they need data driven insights, but the data doesn't exist in the system because it's human dependent data. Humans need to update it, and humans want to like sell. Here, salespeople would want to sell and not deal with system updates and
Yeah.
usage of tools. So that basically gave us a lot of insights around like the new market, the new trend, where data becomes even more important, and the digital data workload is increasing. Enablement is going to be key from a sales team standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
and collaboration is going to be big, right? Because we are all like digitally scattered as team and individuals, both sellers as well as buyers. So you need to collaborate, you need to get the data to do the right collaboration, you need the insights to take those actions. So it basically opened up a very new opportunity for us, and that's how the COVID experience helped us to like get these insights around data and remote working. From a company standpoint, the way we started solving for this was look at what people are using today, right? And how sales is done. So we realized, and we spoke to like over 100 odd salespeople globally in different markets. And the big challenge was that the process is still stuck in 1990s when like
Mm-hmm.
CRM was built, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the very first CRM that people recall is from Oracle, Siebel, which basically saw tough competition from Salesforce, and Salesforce is now market leader. But Salesforce brought that conventional on-premise CRM to cloud. So they democratized the CRM, right? But for 20 years, it's been like that, right? So with Salesforce, I mean, you can launch CRM with one user, and there are like so many other alternatives also out there. But CRM doesn't work for you. You work for the CRM as a salesperson. So we just approach it in a way that, okay, let system be CRM be the system of record. And then there are like there's data in many other tools and many other systems that salesperson uses. Bring all of them together and help the system of record become better, which is CRM, and then use the data to also generate insights, which is what makes salespeople work better, and which is where system would work for them. So using AI to like solve some of these key challenges. Yeah.
Sounds good. That's really nice to hear. And that is really true. Like instead of making the system, you working for the system should be working for you. And there are actually so many data points across the whole company in their sales calls, in emails, in Slack, and many other places, which can all be combined and got into one place. That's really great to hear. And Abhijit, in terms of Nectar tackling the problem, uh, I'm assuming there are a few other companies which are trying to do something similar. Like, how is Nectar solving this differently today?
Yeah. So we approach the problem grounds up rather than building it top down for like what buyers would want. We wanted to build it for users. So that was the first angle. Second was we focused on fixing the CRM data because most tools assume CRM does its job and then they work on top of it without caring for how the data is in CRM. So we approach it differently that let's fix that CRM data before we start generating insights. And third was we integrated with the user's workflow. We don't expect the users to start using another tool, which will mean another adoption problem for the sales team. We wanted to go into the workflow which they are familiar with. So these are the three things that we've done differently.
Nice. Having those principles, I'm sure, will help the users buy it eventually. That's really unique of it. Nice. Now, in terms of the vision, where do you see Nectar headed? What do you see for the Nectar?
Yeah, so I think we see a very exciting opportunity in front of us. So conventionally, we used to have like CRM. There was like, I mean, if you look at even further, there was the era of databases, right? Oracle. Then there was this era of CRM, right? And then there was this whole reporting and insights that came in 2010, the whole era of marketing automation. I think this decade is the decade of sales tech. I mean, that's one thing that we see. That's why you're seeing a lot of action in the market in B2B sales. Second thing is what we're looking at is, I mean, the remote work or hybrid work is there to stay. So enablement and collaboration would be important, right? So how do you tie things together? How do you tie the data? How do you tie the team? How do you tie the process and playbooks? They're very key to B2B sales. So we see a very interesting opportunity where I think we are at the beginning of that interesting journey where the future of sales is transforming. So we see an excellent growth opportunity for us, and there could be like a massive company in making that we see here at Nectar.
Nice. And you said the future of work is going to be different. Do you see a lot more work from home happening, or do you envision more of a hybrid work culture? And how will Nectar adopt to either? Because the no one knows how the market is going to behave. People might start going back to work, or people might completely be remote, or they might do like a hybrid. Where do you see
Yeah.
that headed, and how do you see Nectar filling in?
Yeah, so I think the world will probably be very open. I think we don't know like what could be the next curveball that hits us, right? I mean, whether it's another war, it's another virus, or it's something else. So I think remote is there to stay, hybrid is there to stay, and like conventional work might also happen, at least in some industries. And in
Mhm.
fact, even a lot of tech companies are also going back to office and things like those, right? So at Nectar, we're actually built for an omni-channel world, right? So it could be digital, it could be offline, it could be remote today, it could be hybrid tomorrow. The idea there is to connect with all the business communication data which is scattered anywhere, and connect the dots and bring it into CRM, right? Which people will not do on their own. So I think from that way, we see a very bright future. In fact, the complexity here and the fluidity will only help the use case that we are going after. So that's what we see. And yeah, we'll be adaptable. I mean, we started in the COVID world as a startup, so been through a very interesting journey as we started the company. So I think the foundation is quite strong from adaptability standpoint. So very bullish on the future and excited as we execute. And finally, we have to take one day at a time and get better each day.
Nice. That's very great to hear that you're already prepared for it, and you started in COVID, so you're probably more better prepared than most others. And last question before I let you go, Abhijeet. How will anyone contact Nectar if they want to give it a try?
Yeah, I mean, you can register for an early access of the product on our website, http Nektar.ai. That's best. You can also follow us on our LinkedIn page. We are quite active there. We share a lot of helpful content for startups to scale for hypergrowth. Or you can like reach out to me as well on Abhijeet at Nektar.ai. Or if you would like to try our product, sales at Nektar.ai.
Nice. Thanks, Abhijeet, for so much. And thank you, Abhijeet, for taking time to come on to Cloud Eagles vendor video series. Really great to have you here.
My pleasure, Prasanna. Thanks for having me here. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and best of luck with Cloud Eagle.
Thank you. With that, folks, thank you everyone for listening to us. We had Abhijeet here today, the CEO and co-founder of Nectar.ai. And see you next time in Cloud Eagles vendor video series. Thank you.